Since the removal of abstract reasoning in 2025, the UCAT now consists of 4 distinct subsets. Each section requires a different cognitive mode and a specific tactical approach. I'll give you a brief breakdown of each section so you have an understanding of it. It's impossible for me to do a deep dive into each section. For that, you have to enroll onto my online course or come along to my face-to-face course or attend it remotely. So the first section I want to talk to you about is verbal reasoning. This section, right, it's about your ability to read a passage of whatever information they give and determine whether specific conclusions can be drawn. The format, of course, is like a passage, and each tends to have about 4 questions. All right. Total numbers might change, so I won't quote those numbers to you today. Sufficient to say that really what's it about? It's about critical thinking, and it's about doing it under extreme time pressure. And this is something you're going to have to do as a doctor, as a dentist throughout your life, hence why this is being tested. Generally 2 types of questions: true, false, can't tell. All right, and it's about evaluating a statement and kind of saying which does it fit into. And then you have the incomplete statements questions, i.e. choosing the best option that kind of completes a sentence kind of based on the logic, right? So what's the general strategy here? The general strategy is not to read for pleasure, all right, or for deep understanding. It's about using keywords, all right? Scan, find unique words in the question, dates, specific name, etc. Scan that text in the word and kind of read around it to get a gist of what's going on here. All right, we don't have time to kind of delve on things too much. That takes me over to the decision-making section. What's all that about? Well, decision-making, as it says on the tin, is about your ability to kind of apply logic, reach a conclusion, evaluate arguments, and analyze information, statistics in general. Again, number of questions, I won't go into it. It could change year on year, so kind of look up on UCAT site. And it's kind of a mix, like if you like, I pick a mix of brain teasers they'll give you, and for logics. And there's a number of question types you have. So one of them is syllogisms. So kind of deciding if a conclusion, if it follows from a set of premises, i.e. all A's are B's, some B's are C's, and so on forth. And in terms of using Venn diagrams, some questions are specifically on it, but you can also apply it to syllogisms as well, I find. So it's a really good skill to have, Venn diagrams, managing those by interpreting them, overlapping them with data sets. So that's something to think about. And there's also probabilities you'll come across, but they're basic. It's basic statistical methods, which most of you will have covered in GCSE. The overall strategy here is that decision making gives you the most time per questions. You can use your whiteboard, so use it, okay? Drawing Venn diagrams, logical maps, sequences, and it can just help your brain at that moment in time under pressure. It could stop your brain looping up, all right, and avoiding confusion. So use whiteboards. In terms of the next section, which is quantitative reasoning, this section, as it says on the tin, is your ability to solve numerical problems, something you're going to do for the rest of your career. The maths itself, I always say to my students, is GCSE level. So if you've not done it at A level, don't worry about it. You should be fine. And also it's your ability to kind of manage some data interpretation. Again, the format, number of questions, we won't bother, won't go into that. Just look it up that particular year whenever you're looking at the UCAT site. And it's about kind of interpreting data, numbers in a kind of high-speed way. And it's something we do day to day as doctors and dentists. It's okay, it's understandable why they do that. The question types could be based on figures around tax or interest rates and so forth. It's about calculating percentages, managing like financial transactions and so forth. So these type of questions crop up. You've also got geometry turning up with areas, volumes, unit conversions. So make sure you know those simple things. Speed, distance, I've seen questions like that crop up as well. but they're basic, physics style questions. The strategy here is about learn to manage your time, number one. If you see like a huge table with 10 columns, 20 rows, it might be too long and you might want to skip and come back to it, for example. You might want to flag up and come back, to find those questions when you come back, and do the simple ones first. But I found if you practice well, like I said in my earlier video, which is treat it as a marathon, not as a sprint, your brain will be trained enough to handle all these questions pretty well. That takes me to the last and final section, which is the situational judgment section. As you know, this section is about kind of measuring your capacity to understand real world clinical scenarios and kind of identifying appropriate response, if you like, professional behavior response. And you're not going to get a quantitative score here. You're being banded into bands 1 to 4, 1 being the best, 4 being the worst. 3 and 4, you probably won't get an interview. 1 and 2, you probably will. Check individual universities that you apply to. I won't go into the number of questions, but the vibe is about, look, are you a good person, colleague, have a decent understanding of kind of clinical dilemmas that you will come across in the future. The questions are of 2 types, appropriateness and importance, i.e. with appropriateness, rating specific action of very appropriate to very inappropriate. And again, with importance, rating it is like very important to not very important. And again, this is another section, bit like I've said earlier on, and that is no GMC good medical practice, no GDC statements, because it's all about prioritizing patients. It's all about safety. It's all about honesty, probity, etc. It's all about seeking help as appropriate, especially when you're out to your depth. It's about avoiding confrontation with colleagues and patients, choosing the most professional approach to managing a clinical scenario. So as you can see, overall, it's all about strategy. It's all about getting slick, exercising your brain muscles so that they get conditioned well over several weeks rather than several days. Good luck.